So, what are organelles? Organelle means little organ. Organelles are the specialized parts of a cell that have unique jobs to perform. Let's start with the nucleus, the control center of the cell. The nucleus contains DNA, or genetic material. DNA dictates what the cell is going to do and how it's going to do it. Chromatin is the tangled, spread-out form of DNA found inside the nuclear membrane. When a cell is ready to divide, DNA condenses into structures known as chromosomes. The nucleus also contains a nucleolus, which is a structure where ribosomes are made. After ribosomes leave the nucleus, they will have the important job of synthesizing or making proteins. Outside the nucleus, the ribosomes and the rest of the organelles float around in cytoplasm, which is the jelly-like substance. Ribosomes may wander freely within the cytoplasm or attach to the endoplasmic reticulum, sometimes abbreviated as ER. There are two types of ER. Rough ER has ribosomes attached to it, and smooth ER doesn't have ribosomes attached to it. The endoplasmic reticulum is a membrane-enclosed passageway for transporting materials, such as the proteins synthesized by ribosomes. Proteins and other materials emerge from the endoplasmic reticulum in small vesicles, where the Golgi apparatus, sometimes called the Golgi body, receives them. As proteins move through the Golgi body, they're customized into forms that the cell can use. The Golgi body does this by folding the proteins into usable shapes.
Look at that! Wow!
What an
Look at its
alien.
tail going. Here, back up a little bit so I'm not sitting in the water. Whoa, look at that! Oh my goodness. That is a horseshoe crab. What a bizarre looking creature. Now, you may be thinking, Coyote, is that thing going to pinch and bite you like crazy? No, they actually just have a little tiny mouth right in the center, and they have no stinger, no fangs, no teeth. Look at that back tail there. They've gotten a bad reputation because of this tail. People think that that's venomous. It actually is not. Ow, 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 but the side little spikes there are definitely very, very spiny. Let me see if I can get it to just lay in the palm of my hand. Oh, that feels really, really creepy. Now, it's called a horseshoe crab, but it's not actually related to crabs at all. It's more closely related to spiders and scorpions. This is one large arthropod. Now, it is pinching me a little bit. Now, if you look straight on, where it gets the name horseshoe crab, let me hold it like that. Looks just like a horseshoe, right?
Totally.
And if you look right at the front of the face there, you see these little spots? Those are compound eyes. Actually, this animal has 9 eyes in total. The 2 right here, 5 light-sensing eyes on top of its carapace, and then on the underside, 2 simple eyes that they actually use to kind of sense their environment. And scientists think that the eyes on the underside are actually just left over from when they were in a larva stage.
So wait, those are eyes on the top of that?
Yes, and it looks like a face, doesn't it? You see that?
I always thought that that was just like a helmet, like a shell protection.
Now here's something that you may not know, and something very cool. Let me turn it like this and just hold it in the palm of my hand. That is me holding a living fossil. The ancestors of the horseshoe crab have been on the planet for over 450 million years. And this species right here is the Atlantic horseshoe crab. There's only 4 horseshoe crab species in the world. This is the only one that can be found off the coast of the United States. And this one specifically, this design, the Atlantic horseshoe crab, has not changed in over 230 million years. That dates back to the Triassic period. So this creature was crawling around on the basin of the ocean during the time of the dinosaurs. How cool is that?
During the warmer months, especially at night during the full moon, horseshoe crabs emerge from the sea to spawn. Waiting for them are teams of lab workers who capture the horseshoe crabs by the hundreds of thousands, take them to labs, harvest their cerulean blood, then return them to the sea. Oddly enough, we capture horseshoe crabs on the beach because that's the only place we know we can find them. Though we've spotted the occasional horseshoe crab as deep as 200 meters below the ocean's surface, we only see large groups of adults when they come ashore to spawn. Horseshoe crab blood contains cells called amoebocytes that protect them from infection by viruses, fungi, and bacteria. Amoebocytes form gels around these invaders to prevent them from spreading infections. How did horseshoe crabs end up with such special blood? Like other invertebrates, the horseshoe crab has an open circulatory system. This means their blood isn't contained in blood vessels like ours. Instead, horseshoe crab blood flows freely through the body cavity and comes in direct contact with tissues. If bacteria enters their blood, it can quickly spread over a large area. Pair this vulnerability with the horseshoe crab's bacteria-filled ocean and shoreline habitats, and it's easy to see why they need such a sensitive immune response. Horseshoe crabs survived mass extinction events that wiped out over 90% of life on Earth and killed off the dinosaurs.
This bluish liquid is one of the most expensive resources in the world. No, it's not the blue milk from Star Wars. It's actually blood from a horseshoe crab. And the stuff this blood makes costs $60,000 a gallon. So why is it so expensive? And who's buying horseshoe crab blood? The blue color comes from copper in the blood. But that's not its most interesting feature. The blood contains a special clotting agent. It's used to make a concoction called limulus amoebocyte lysate, or LAL. Before LAL, scientists had no easy way of knowing whether a vaccine or medical tool was contaminated with bacteria, like E. coli or Salmonella. Scientists would inject vaccines into huge numbers of rabbits and then basically wait for symptoms to show up. But when LAL was approved for use in 1970, it changed everything. Drop a minuscule amount of it onto a medical device or vaccine, and the LAL will encase any gram-negative bacteria in a jelly cocoon. While it can't kill the bacteria, the jelly seal is like a fire alarm, alerting us to the presence of what could become a potentially lethal infection and prevent it from spreading. Each year, the medical industry catches around 600,000 horseshoe crabs. The crabs are drained of 30% of their blood, and up to 30% of the crabs don't live through the process. The survivors are returned to the water, but no one really knows how well or if they recover. In 2016, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature bumped the American horseshoe crab up to vulnerable on its red list, one step below endangered. And the US population could keep falling by as much as 30% over the next 40 years. LAL labs claim that the returned crabs eventually recover, but new evidence suggests that's not always the case. Wynne Watson is trying to figure out what happens to the crabs when they're put back in the sea.
So the most immediate negative effect is mortality. Anywhere from 10 to 25% of the animals will die within the first couple of days after you bleed them.
Bled crabs become disoriented and weak for a period of time, and females may have trouble spawning.
If they survive the first, we'll say 2 weeks, and they're back in their natural habitat, they did pretty well.
But it's getting through those 2 weeks that's the issue.
Based on our data and others, I think that you need to treat them a little. If you're going to increase your survival rate, right, you need to treat them better.
Scientists are trying to find a synthetic alternative to help reduce the strain on the horseshoe crab population. But so far, LAL is still required by the FDA for this type of testing. So if these animals really aren't recovering at the rate companies previously thought, we might eventually run out of crabs to bleed. If that happens, our lives, and the lives of countless rabbits, might be at risk.